Hello, fellow educators. It's good to be with you again. Last week I went over some of the questions, one of the questions that was asked about collaborative learning, and I promised that this week I would go into greater depth about one of the models, 21st century models that's used to explain how to effectively use technology in education. So this week's topic is the SAMR model. Some people refer to it as the SAMR model. Others refer to it as the SAMR model. Again, this is Dr. Martina Debo from Sion Educational Services, talking to every educator on this group and anyone you'd like to share this with. As you know, educational technology is more than just sticking a child in front of a computer. You need to know what that child is doing, and you need to have a rationale for whatever activity you're doing and whatever tools you're using. So this gentleman, Dr. Ruben Pentadura, came up with a model because he said that technology allows us, or should allow us, to think differently about tasks and to perform new tasks. So he divided the use of technology into 4 distinct categories, and he called it the SAMR model, which is substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And so what I want to do is I want to go briefly over each one of these to explain what they actually mean. In the substitution, if a teacher is using technology as a substitute for regular traditional paper and pencil or things that you'd normally use in the class, the question should ask herself would be, could this be done without technology? If her answer is yes, then her use of technology or his use of technology in the classroom is purely on the substitution level. Technology in this instance is simply a form of replacing traditional tools with no actual functional alteration. For example, if you use the Word software, any Word software, to write notes on a tablet, all you're doing is substituting the technology for the traditional paper and pencil. The next level is augmentation. Now here the teacher would say, okay, I have a task. Have I enhanced the task in any way with technology? Augmentation is a direct substitution of traditional tools with slight functional improvements. For example, if you ask a student to incorporate a graph into a Word document or a picture into a Word document when they're writing notes, or if you use Google Docs to share those notes, then what you're doing is you're augmenting the activity, but you haven't actually redefined the activity. You haven't actually changed the activity. So here the teacher says, have I enhanced the task with technology? If the answer is yes, then the teacher has simply used technology to augment the task. Substitution and augmentation simply enhance. They do not redefine. And although enhancement increases efficiency, it doesn't really transform learning. So what do you do to transform learning? Transformation occurs above the line. This line here is the demarcation between enhancement and transformation. The two types of activities that are above the line are modification and redefinition. With modification, the teacher says, does the modification depend on new technology? If the answer is yes, then she has or he has moved to the modification which is above the line. Modification is defined as where the technology allows the task to be significantly redesigned. For example, if you use software to create and share to a larger audience in a way that could not be possible without technology, then you have modified the task. So here you have a situation where a student is asked to do an activity. That student uploads that activity to the cloud and shares it with his or her classmates for peer review, for comments, for feedback. Then they finish in a collaborative group and they publish their end results to the wider digital audience. You have modified the task. This type of activity could not be done without technology. So you're using technology at the modification level. Then the highest level is the redefinition. Here you're not simply modifying, you're having the students perform a task that would be absolutely impossible without technology. So the teacher's saying, this task isn't possible without tech. So I'm redefining a task. This is a level at which the student, for example, a robotics student in a group, they're given an engineering problem. They work on their engineering problem. They create an engineering video or an animated video to explain the engineering problem. They use robotics maybe, and then they define it and they share it with the global audience. So this particular task could not be done without technology. So that is the redefinition level. Transformation requires and facilitates new learning. If the teachers think about it this way, if you are transforming a task, the student has to learn something new, something that would not be possible without technology. So again, let me redefine it. Enhancement. The enhancement level is substitution and augmentation. The transformation level is modification and redefinition. If you think about it like Bloom's taxonomy, and you're thinking about the modification and redefinition as like what we call the higher order thinking skills, this is where you're most likely to be able to bring in the creativity, the collaboration, the communication, and the critical thinking of the 4 C's. Now, the thing about it is that some people feel that this model is like a ladder. They start with substitution, they go to augmentation, then modification, and then redefinition. And most teachers, when they first embark on online instruction or virtual learning for their students, most teachers start at the substitution level. They take what they already do in class and they simply transfer it to the computer. We want to get the teachers to where they are moving up. They're augmenting by tweaking and changing the functionality of the task, by modifying and by redefining the task. So what should be happening all the time is that they're using all of these. All the time, every task, they'll think about it. Okay, I'm substituting. How am I going to augment? How am I going to modify? And it's like an ongoing flow. If you think of it like an ongoing flow of thought, of usage. As educators, they have to think, what are they doing? What do you do? Why do you do it? And how does it impact learning? The SAMR is not about the tools you use, it's about how you use those tools. Ultimately, you're aiming to maximize student success. If you have a situation where you have students who don't have the fancy gadgets, you can still use the SAMR model even with a cell phone, with WhatsApp. It's not the tool you use. I have to re-emphasize this. It's not the tool you use, it's how you use those tools. I invite you to attend the workshop that's coming up that will go into greater depth about that. But as we stand right now, thank you very much for listening to this, and I hope that you're going to be able to share it with your colleagues, because we are in a situation, we're in a climate that's not going to change. Even when we go back to class, we're still going to be technology driven. We've been literally forced into 21st century learning, and the more you know about it, the more you know about how to use technology in your learning, the more your teachers know how to use technology, the better it is for the students. So again, I'm Dr. Martina Debel. I thank you for participating, for listening to this, and I invite you to to comment on the platform, on the educators discussion platform, and to send in whatever questions you have. Don't forget, we have the webinar coming up on Thursday. For those of you who did not attend the free webinar and want to attend this one, please register, because you need a link to get in. Again, thank you very much, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you.